Greetings. This is Moonman1 reporting in. Starfield Direct is now complete, and they did wonderfully. I cannot believe the game that we'll be playing in less than 90 days, and now closer to 80 with the announcement that the Constellation Edition and Premium Edition receive 5 days early access. This is a Star Walker's dream come true. This is a space explorer's real fantasy. I don't cry many tears in space because it's just not practical, but they were dripping during this showcase. Let's focus now in on character creation, traits and skills and backgrounds, because this is by far the best character creation Bethesda has ever come up with. And it begins with the graphical animation systems that have been put in place for Starfield that are far superior to what we've seen in Fallout or Elder Scrolls. The animations just of walking, running, punching are significant upgrades over everything else Bethesda has done and help imbue Starfield with a far larger sense of immersion than anything that we've played before it. I will say that some of the characters look like they're stuck in the Fallout 4 universe, while some of the characters look far superior, but for the most part, this game is excelling in every way, and it begins with the beginning of your journey, picking out your spaceman. It was at this point in the showcase that I knew things were getting really good. A deep dive into the intricacies of character creation is something I was highly seeking after, and all of the facial capture they've done allows Bethesda to announce that every NPC you see in the game has been created using the same character creator that we will use, meaning you might have a lost twin or a lost lover lurking out there among the stars. Coming up against yourself would truly be one of the most incredible moments a video game has presented, but I love that Bethesda also showcased the very early moments of the game. This seems to be the very beginning. Perhaps there will be a setup CG cutscene, but here, right before we gain control, you are being integrated into Argos extractors. They hand you a tablet and say, "Who the heck are you?" You've got 40 presets to pick from, and honestly the presets are pretty darn good. I still think there is a bit of a sliding scale here. I think some faces look far superior to others, and even amongst the entire Direct, some characters do look significantly superior. Some look stuck back in the Fallout 4 era, whereas some are definitely from the space age. I love the attention to detail though here, and they promise their most detailed, yet most simple character creator ever put into place. Gait and walk style is something that I love, and this complements the animation system, focusing on much more immersion and realistic behavior for your playable character. There's all sorts of skin tones, all sorts of age marks, all sorts of musculature and body types. They really are letting you customize to your heart's content while trying to support you in creating something that does not look like an abomination from the outer reaches. I think it'll still be possible to create a heinous character if you set out to do so, but it does look like they are trying to support you in building a character that is at least palatable to more than his mother's eyes. I really am excited to make my spaceman, spacewoman, space person, and I'm so curious to see who you will make. I think it'll be incredible to mix and match all of these different things that we have, from jewelry to shape blends, whatever that might be. Here you see the specifics of nose, ears, cheeks, mouth, teeth, and then shape blends. What could that be? It seems like it's ticking boxes or moving them along to blend the face in different ways, maybe to make a mouth fit a little better with a different set of cheeks. That's my guess. But it's clear that they have put a lot of care into this character creator, realizing that it's something players value highly and something that Bethesda could improve upon from their previous outings. Now, this is where things get insanely interesting. The backgrounds are plentiful, and these are going to have massive implications to how you begin your journey and frankly how your journey goes for hours and hours. They list a bunch of them, and I think we should probably go through at least all of them. The Explorer is a character who emphasizes lasers, with personal laser weapons are much more effective, astrodynamics, delivering you a lot more ship prowess and the ability to clearly boost your ship's performance, as well as surveying, a better skill set for identifying flora and fauna. That last one, I'm not so sure how that impacts you, as it seems like the surveying is quite easy point and click, but They say, as the major factions argued over the space they desperately tried to control, you are busy uncovering the wonders of the settled system. And deciding one of these will probably take just as long or longer than character creation itself. I know I will obsess over it and read through every one. A diplomat is the wars are over, and you are basically a peacekeeper of the settled systems. This grants you persuasion for a better dialogue preference, commerce, which I imagine would give you better trade rates and better buy-sell prices, and then wellness, which gives you a better overall sense of health and prolonged life expectancy. I'm guessing this will just affect your HP bar, but maybe other things as well, like your resistance to deathly viruses or environmental scourges. We then see cyberneticist, robots, mere toys, neuroamps, good for parlor tricks. This presents you with medicine, an interesting first starting skill. Only through advancements in medical training and technology has humanity been able to withstand the galaxy's many dangers. This looks to be better healing, so you'll be able to regenerate faster and more completely than other classes. Security, which gives you the ability to break through codes and break through security cameras. Maybe a bit of a stealth skill as well, evading and avoiding spying prying eyes. Lasers again, as from the Explorer background, as we know. We then see Cyber Runner, which looks to be an incredibly interesting background. From Neon to New Atlantis, the megacorps stand as monuments to power, prestige, and profit. You've worked for and against them on the inside and out. You're basically a shadow ninja. You have stealth, which gives you the ability to sneak up on targets and looks like it might benefit your suppressed guns. Security, as mentioned, break through codes and possibly avoid the cameras. And theft, which is going to allow you to more discreetly pickpocket persons non grata. I'm assuming theft will also give you the ability to get away with more heists and possibly even persist beyond some of those system scans where you enter a new system and they're checking your cargo. We saw a nice cargo check that was really interesting, and I wonder how much you have to really tip them off. From there, Combat Medic is pistol certification, giving you an ability to better wield sidearms and pistols, medicine again for healing prowess, and wellness for health. This is a class that really emphasizes and prioritizes staying alive, and one that I will personally stay away from as I don't find it interesting. Chef is crazy. This is where the game really is trying to be innovative and inventive and let you be whatever you want to be in the galaxy. Gastronomy gives you access to all sorts of ingredients and the ability to prepare foods and drinks. I do wonder if this will give you the ability to perhaps poison or even mind control certain individuals, maybe put them out of work for a bit, out of capacity, I don't really know, or gain good graces with different organizations that prioritize a good digestive tract. Dueling is an interesting skill that allows you to improve your close range combat. It seems like this will be the best choice for a melee focused character class, although I wonder if the dueling angle will provide more than just more powerful punches and perhaps something in one-on-one encounters as opposed to larger scale conflicts. Scavenging allows you to most likely find better and more loot, which is always a beneficial and interesting skill to have. And from there, they zoom in on the patches. I love the attention to detail here, and that's what Starfield seems to be all about throughout its initial amazing direct. We see that even the skills themselves are actually patches that these Astro Explorers would place upon their gear. And I love just like the tiny little things that they add to this game to make the world feel more lived in, more real, and more immersive. They talk about how your background can affect you in quests throughout the game. So we have things like, hey, this place really wants a chef because it's going to help you win good graces. Or this guy right here, Markeith, he needs a beast hunter to help track down some sort of creature that he cannot seem to catch. It does seem like it'll be difficult for you to choose which background, knowing that you'll be locking yourself out potentially from a bunch of interesting opportunities. But then there's even more to choose from. We then have these traits, 3 traits that are optional to pick, that provide you with even more speciality and uniqueness to your run through Starfield. They end up showing off some great ones, but we'll begin with Raise Universal. This allows you to gain access to a special chest full of items in the Sanctum Universum in New Atlantis, but lose access to the House of Enlightened chest. At first I thought this would make you a neutral party, but it's clear that actually Universal is a specific order in the galaxy, and you can align with Raised Universal in the Sanctum Universum or Raised Enlightened in the House of the Enlightened and gain access to different items at the start. Now, it's interesting that some of these traits are intro based. Like, this would just be something that you gain immediately and early, although I do think it's providing you with faction points that will benefit or hurt you later on, whereas some of the traits seem to be far more encompassing. Neon Street Rat here gives you faction allegiance to different characters on the planet Neon. Kid stuff, though, is completely different. This isn't about allegiance whatsoever. Well, I guess it's about allegiance to your parents. You automatically send 2% of your credits home to your parents every week, but they're alive and well, something that really doesn't factor into most Bethesda adventures. You can go visit them at their home, which is pretty cool, and I bet there's some unique encounters, conversations, dialogue choices, and maybe even rewards, weapons, and more that come from having parents that care about you and want to see you succeed. It's here where Starfield just feels so deep. Introvert allows you to exert yourself using less oxygen when adventuring, but more when adventuring with other human companions. A very, very nuanced skill that could be beneficial if you're not planning on playing a very solo co-op adventure. I like the idea of bringing the robot with me, but maybe you don't. On the other hand, they have extrovert, which will inevitably flip, using less oxygen when venturing with the companion and more when venturing by yourself. Notice, though, that this specifies human companions, so I do wonder if there's something that allows you to befriend robots more easily or breathe easier when you're around a metallic monster. Hero Worshipped is the one they go into that just seems to fan out into many directions and have all sorts of cause and effect relationships. You've earned the attention of an annoying, adoring fan. He will be blabbering incessantly. As we know from games like Horizon, it's pretty annoying to have the character constantly talking. It's even been patched out of games where it's become a problem. But he will also join your crew and give you gifts. And I bet there's a very interesting long-term quest line with this adoring fan. But as the trailer goes on to show, you can eliminate this fan if you see fit. And I wonder what that would do for you as well as your reputation throughout the galaxy. Perhaps it would end up paying dividends because you no longer have to deal with him, but at the same time you'll lose out on the rewards. And I do wonder if someplace like New Atlantis gains word of this, gets a whiff of it, maybe they will decide to view you less favorably. This is going on to show the parents' house and headquarters, which I think is just a really fun little nuance to the game, something that hasn't been too experienced before. The Serpent's Embrace, kind of more of this religious type preference here, which allows us to align with a very slippery faction out there amongst the stars. And there's just so many backgrounds and traits to pick from. You really will be able to create a class per se or a character that is just fun and diverse. It seems like you can make the game whatever you want. You want to focus on combat. Wanted allows you to be hunted constantly, but provides you with some benefits on the other hand. It's just a great opportunity to see how these traits are not only affecting binary skills and stats, but they also are affecting directly the game experience, even random events. You pick Wanted and you're going to have people coming after you that you would not normally have. Diplomat will allow access, I'm sure, to certain dialogue options, as well as things like Beast Hunter giving you different quests, and then of course you're the hero worshipped, but you can choose if you want to worship the guy that is worshiping you. I think Sarah Morgan looks pretty darn good as sort of your main point of contact with Constellation. I think she looks decently advanced from typical Bethesda characters, but I feel like this financier, this businessman, seems to struggle in the facial department. Constellation is the place where you'll start, and these are the characters that you'll see a ton of, as we've proven that they will become your companions. Sarah Morgan looks great. Even the theologist looks solid, especially since we can't see his hair, which I think breaks the illusion for some of these characters. Noel looks good, but it's this businessman. Something about his hair and face just seem flat. Perhaps they struggle with wrinkles. I don't know. But here he just looks kind of dated, although maybe that's the point. Let's now jump into skills, which I'm sure can spawn off its own video and all sorts of different details and description, but honestly, they kept skills pretty darn quick in terms of the overall time spent in the presentation. You gotta be quick to catch everything they showed off here. Robotics is the first skill that is shown, although we don't get too much detail. they move from payloads to security, and that's where we dive into the rank and challenge system. So there's many skills across different categories that each have 4 ranks. And the first rank is unlocked via the skill point, and then it seems like the subsequent ranks will be unlocked via completing challenges. I love this system of first unlocking a skill utilizing a level up mechanic, but then diving deeper into the skill by actually utilizing the skill. It's a tried and true Western RPG idea and philosophy of design where the more you use something, the better you get at it. We see here security, which as we know is one of the starting skills for a number of the different backgrounds we previously discussed, allows you to attempt to hack advanced locks and 2 auto attempts can be banked. That further moves to eventually attempt to hack expert locks, and rings now turn blue when the pick can be slotted, master level locks, and eventually expend a digipick to eliminate keys that aren't required to solve the puzzle, boosting your auto attempt banking amount. Some of this is unclear, but most of it can be kind of just sussed out if you think about how Bethesda games work, how Fallout works, and where it could possibly go. We then see that the challenges are directly associated to the skills themselves. Pick 5 locks to move from rank 1 in security up to rank 2. I, again, adore this system, and I think it's one of the best parts of these type of games. We then go from 5 locks to 15 locks, and we are introduced to Intimidation, a skill that we did not see as part of any of the backgrounds or traits. The ability to strike fear into an opponent, causing them to flee so that you can escape or attack first. Initially, it allows you to force a target NPC at or below your level to flee for a limited time. Then, up to 10 levels higher, 20 levels higher, and the targets that flee leave for a substantial amount of time. This seems to be a very fun skill and one that I'm considering, not just for the King Kong patch, but also for the fact that it can cause a whole lot of chaos. You'll also notice more attention to detail in the fact that these patches, do upgrade and change as you level up. So we see it starts off as a simple but still aesthetically pleasing Gorilla Fang, and then it moves at rank 2 to a more fully faced portrait. At rank 3 you can see his rage is building. At rank 4 he busts out of the patch. Too cool. Decontamination, leadership, and we get even more looks at science, tech, and all the different categories that this game has. Xenosociology is one that allows you to control different aliens that you find out there. Boost pack training seems like a must, and I do want to pause here as I find it a bit odd that boost pack training has been made a skill rather than an automatically acquired ability. Please tell me how many of you out there will not be acquiring this skill. I think the numbers will be incredibly small. It seems like the boost pack is just a brilliant part of Starfield for navigation, for traversal, and for combat. I don't really see how you could play this game without, although clearly it's totally possible, and I think that's the point. They want there to be skills that you do not believe you could go without to really help diversify and separate your adventure from those playing alongside you. Neurostrikes is a beautiful patch that allows you to really dive in and punch, and here is where the animation system shows extreme improvement. Melee attacks are something in RPGs like this that never really seem to connect, although I give them credit for delivering possibly the best looking punches Bethesda has ever brought to the table. It's quite impressive, and I love how that guy flies away. We have all sorts of other skills that they will go into later on, I'm sure. And they talk about stealth. They talk about all sorts of different ways for you to play the game. And again, this is going to probably feel and fit into similar parameters, ones that we're familiar with. Playing run and gun, playing stealthy, playing as the charmer, the wheeler dealer, playing as someone that aligns heavily with one faction or tries to align with no factions. We see a little sample of the dialogue system and utilizing persuasion to move through different encounters, and we also see combat, which will be the focus of another video. From this point, though, they do start to dive deeper into the overarching systems of the game and leave character creation and the beginnings of your space person's journey behind. I think thus far, though, everything they've shown is absolutely wonderful, and I cannot even begin to pick where I will go. Outside of all the backgrounds we covered that were specifically highlighted in the Direct, there are tons more that we know nothing about. Tons more traits that could have quirky, weird advantages, disadvantages, and even unlock whole different areas. Perhaps there's some that will allow you to explore certain planets that you normally could have no access to. Perhaps there are some that will plague you with a strange disease that impacts your game experience in a different way. Mysterious Stranger was always a fun one in Fallout, and I wonder if we'll have something of that sort kind of parallel in Starfield. Pilgrim, Homesteader, Gangster, Professor, Ronin, Beast Hunter, Bouncer, Bounty Hunter, all sorts of different backgrounds, and that is just B through R. And then when we move to the trait screen, you see that there's all sorts of traits as well that could provide just a ton of very different and unique encounters and unique scenarios, things that who knows what they'll unlock. We have things like Terra Firma, Spaced, Neon Street Rat, Empath, Dream Home, Alien DNA, Freestar Collective Settler. All of these will provide different options and opportunities, and they did say there's a way for you to delete traits, and so that makes me wonder if there's a way to acquire different traits as well. Perhaps some traits will be unlocked along the way, whereas I think backgrounds will be completely locked to the beginning of the adventure. Traits could possibly carry forward and be something that you add to your list. I'm not promising that, and they are optional, so it's not a guarantee, but the fact that you can remove traits makes me think that you can probably add them as well. I don't know about you, but this character creator is looking like a game in of itself, and I'm insanely excited to see where it takes us. Please let me know in the comments down below what part of character creation, backgrounds, traits, and skills you're most excited for, and how you plan to make your space person perform. Are you going to go for the run and gun aggressive style? Are you going to be someone that focuses on cerebrally outmatching your opponents? Or are you just going to hang out with mom and dad and collect some flora and fauna? You can kind of do just about anything, and like all aspects of Starfield, the scope is immense, the scope is impressive, the scope is insane. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into character creation, backgrounds, traits, and skills. We'll be back with more soon, but for now, this has been Moonman1, over and out.